Hello, everyone, and welcome to Transforming Today Show. I am your host, Rebecca Weintraub, and I am here with Shaundi Goins. How are you, Shaundi?
I am blessed. How are you, my friend?
I'm awesome. I know we're becoming like fast
Yay.
friends today. Viewers, this is the first time we've ever met, but I was so attracted to everything that Shaundi posts and all that he's doing that I had to have him on. So we're really, really excited to be here with him today. So I am an intuition coach, and I help people break through blockages in order to clear space so that they can really find strong intuition. It's a balance of our mental, emotional, physical, and spiritual dimensions where we can bring them to an optimal state and really balance them so that our intuition just flows naturally and freely, and it's strong and helps us guide us in our lives. And Shaundi, tell us how you help your clients.
Thanks for asking. So I take my clients through a process. I call it the success principles. And the success principles really help me go from being a former homeless United States Navy veteran to becoming a speaker, author, trainer, and coach. And so as a success trainer, what I basically do is I help my clients get from where they are to where they want to be. And so if they're at point A and their goal is to get to point B, as a success trainer, I fill in the gap, right? I built that. I'm the bridge to help them go from where they are to where they want to get to go. And I not just help my clients become unusually successful in all areas of life, but I also train them on how to live a fulfilling lifestyle. So there's a lot of people that are highly successful, but they're not fulfilled in life. And so I make sure that I do those two things for my clients, because it's not all about making money and wealth management. It's about, hey, coming home to your children and being happy, spending time with your soulmate, and having a great time with your friends and your community, and just really giving back to the world. Because at the end of the day, that makes you happy on the inside. So I'm an expert in that space there.
Oh, I love it. And it just freely flows. So I know you're doing it, and I know you're helping so many other people because you just live and breathe this every day. I can just tell. So, all
Yeah.
right, I'm most interested in, you mentioned how you bridge the gap for your clients. I assume you did that for yourself. So that's really what I want to know. But before we get into that, please
Mhm.
tell me, sort of set the stage of that point A, so to speak. Like give us an understanding of really where you started and where that pain point just pushed you to begin that journey.
Sure. So my journey actually goes back like literally in my toddler years. So unfortunately, I saw my mother go through domestic violence with men in her life, and they also physically abused me. So between the ages of 3 to about, mm, I'd say 11, I was physically, emotionally, psychologically abused by my mother's long-term boyfriend. Through that journey, I was that little kid who was just glowing and just like an angelic soul. And this man just took everything from me. So I ended up with low self-esteem. Believe it or not, people think that I'm an extrovert, but believe it or not, I was afraid to talk to people. The only time I really talk to people is if they were my close friends or family members, but I was really shy to the world because he I couldn't do anything right. Like I had to be perfect around this guy, and that carried on in all areas of my life. So I didn't raise my hand in school. If I really didn't know something, I didn't know how to ask for help, and so that really crippled part of my growth growing up. And so, I got bullied at home. I got bullied at school. It was a dark place for me when I was younger. Um, then unfortunately, my mother, with this man, got into the drugs, and alcoholism was really hardcore in my family from the get go. But there was drugs in the house, so I went through a lot of stuff. And unfortunately, on top of that, I was actually sexually abused by a distant cousin.
Mhm.
So, I dealt with that. And when I got a little bit older, we moved to California. When I was 11 years old, my mother moved to California. And, going to California, living in Oakland, which is a very hardcore city. It's one of the most dangerous cities in the country. And growing up there, very fast paced from being in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, because I was a Midwestern boy, really getting super abused, um, being introduced to like the crack cocaine um, 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 time period in Oakland. And so it was, like I said, it was very fast paced. I was really lost. And then on top of my mother's addiction, it got worse. So we were living, Rebecca, when I mean poor, we were living poor, right? Because she would spend all her money on drugs because she was addicted. That forced me to grow up early. So I'm 12, 13, 14 years old, taking care of my two little sisters. I'm fending for our life every single day because we live in a horrible neighborhood. Um, and when you get beaten down so much by the world, by people that surrounds your environment, sooner or later, I know for me, my fear turned into anger. Like I got tired of being bullied, and I got tired of men beating up my mother, and so that turned into anger, and that was like my defense mechanism because I didn't want anybody to mess with my mother, my family, and me. Um, and so in my teenage years, I had a lot of anger, and because I didn't know how to deal with my past, and I'm a teenager, raging hormones, right? And um, I shield my past and my hurt by becoming an athlete, right? And becoming popular. And like most kids, when you go from an ugly duckling like I was to you know being blessed to, hey, I'm starting to look handsome. Hey, I'm looking good physically. I'm not that little skinny short little guy that I was years ago. Um, I started being a teenager, so I'm partying. I was introduced to, go figure, beer, and I had no idea how cunning, baffling, and powerful addiction was. And I felt that I have this strong willpower. Like I'm gonna prove to my mother and everybody that abused drugs and alcohol that you got to have a strong willpower to overcome that mess. Well, unfortunately, I like drinking, and I like drinking so much it went from drinking recreationally to drinking because my new father in my life, who my mother got married, she got clean and sober, by the way. And so she met this man who was a phenomenal man. He's actually the person I called for the first time in my life my father. And so, I was used to being the man of the house, and now he's the man of the house, and we had some friction. Well, I get into it with him. I go with my friends, and we go drink, right? And pretty soon, I'm drinking on every occasion. Drinking becomes life. So I end up becoming an alcoholic, and a little later on, I became a drug addict. And um, my goal, like my mother, it's like the sins of the father. I did a geographical, like my mother did. I decided to go into the military. I felt that if I get around the bad environment that I was in, that it was going to change my life. I go to the military, Rebecca, and I drank more than ever. and I got kicked out. Go figure. I was serving the world's finest Navy, and sailors are known for drinking. Well, I drank so much as a sailor, they kicked me out. And it was the only thing that I had going for me at that time. And so I was 23 years old. I came back home. I'll never forget the look on my father's face at the airport. I could tell in his face that he was highly disappointed in me. And here I go again. I don't know how to deal with feelings. And so I'm putting on this facade. So I'm back in my neighborhood. I'm back home with the friends, and I'm okay. Hey, I'm great. what is the next business venture for me? And the next business venture was to sell drugs. And the only problem with that, when you're an addict, is you become your best customer, right? So now I'm really out there abusing hardcore drugs, right? Abusing alcohol, and pretty soon I got homeless. And you know, I'm living in people's cars, and I'm living in friends' closet. Some of them still live with their parents, and some of them had families now, right? And I burnt all my bridges. So it got to the point where I'm on the streets, you know, and as an addict, I used to live and live to use. So my daily regiment was I would get up. I lived in my mother, where we used to live at with my parents. We lived in an apartment complex called Northgate Savoy. And I would go sleep. I would go hop the gate and I would go sleep in the sauna because the sauna's warm. And in the morning time, I go to the swimming pool and I take a shower because they got plenty of chlorine, right? I put on my clothes, I walk down Fremont Boulevard, and I go ask for money to get drugs and get alcohol. And I may eat every couple of days. And it got to a point in my life when I was out there. I'll never forget, Rebecca. I went to an Amical gas station. I don't like public bathrooms. They're nasty, right? And I was in this nasty dungeon-like Amical gas station bathroom. And I looked in the mirror, and Rebecca, what I saw me, or where I was at that time. And I was about 151 pounds soaking wet, you know, standing at 6 feet inches tall. And I just looked like a skeleton. I didn't look like the healthy Shaundi that played sports in high school. And I'll never forget, I was like, man, this is not me. And I wanted to commit suicide. I actually felt like my best wasn't good enough. And I really felt that to the entire world, that the world would be a better place without Shaundi. Because I messed up. You know, I messed up as a kid, messed up as a teenager. I couldn't even finish 4 years in the United States Navy. And I just like, man, I don't know how to change my life. And I had this plan to commit suicide. You know, I was in a tough spot in my life. I was also part of the street world too. The dangerous part of the street world, if you get what I'm talking about. So there's a lot of moving parts in my life. And I'll never forget, I remember me having a conversation with God, because God knew what was on my mind. But, you know, he said, Shaundi, you know, this is not the end for you. You're not meant to, this is not who I created you for. You're meant to serve a mighty nation. I created you to serve billions. But the first thing you got to do, Sean, you got to get clean and sober. You can't do anything else till you take care of yourself. You got to learn how to live life on life's term. And so it was cold in the winter. And I called my mother and I said, Mom, does Cura have a bed? Cura is a behavioral modification 12-step program where my mother and father got clean. And I saw where my mother was at, and I saw how my mother got clean. And I mean, we lived in a wonderful, wonderful suburban city in Fremont when she got clean. But I blew all that because I was in my addiction, right? But I utilized my resources and I went to Cura and I got clean. I was there 16 months. But when the first thing I did before I got off the streets, and this is important, I took 100% responsibility over my life. That's one of the principles that I teach my clients, because I realized when I was on those streets, I had a moment of clarity, Rebecca, that no one was coming. Like there was no billionaire or multi-millionaire that was gonna come and says, here you go, young whippersnapper. I'm gonna give you $1 million and I'm also gonna check you into a Betty Ford clinic, right? And you're gonna get cleaned up and you're gonna have this money. No. That's make-believe, right? And so I said, Sean, you do, it's on you. Like you gotta get out this funk, dude. And so I took 100% responsibility over my life and my results. And then the second thing I did was I made a decision. I said I made a decision to never, ever live this type of life I was living. Those are the two things I did to go to treatment. When I was in treatment, I learned everything I needed to learn: relapse prevention, living life on life's terms, and they taught me how to set measurable goals. That's another thing I teach my clients. So everything that I'm learning throughout this process, I teach my clients, right? And so I learned how to I created a vision board. They had us create a vision board. And they said, so there's 3 parts. Part number 1 is your past, right? So I put pictures of alcohol and drugs and mayhem and violence. My current was, I'm going to meetings. I'm going to 12-step AA and NA meetings. I'm rebuilding relationships, right? I have a job at St. Vincent de Paul, right? I'm starting all over. So that was the second part, the middle. The third part was the 10-year goal. Where you want to be in 10 years. I want to own a business. I want to go to college. I want to have a white picket fence home, right? And so we learn how to set those goals and how you're going to, like, exactly how are you going to get to that goal, and when you're going to start that goal, and when are you going to, what date are you going to achieve the goal, right? And I did that. Then I went on to college, got all my degrees, associates, bachelor's, master's degree. The turning point for me of how I got into the coaching, training, and personal development industry was while I was in college. One of my best friends, Catherine, was in business, and she was going to see like this Christian / business coach. And I was like, I've heard of a business coach or a business consultant. I never heard of a Christian business coach, but I could see her life was changing, Rebecca. Mm-hmm. And every month she was like, have you went to the website yet? It's a free website. Go check out the Master Mentor. I was like, nope, not yet. Cause it was free, right? It was free. So I didn't act on it. I didn't see the value yet. Mm-hmm. So a couple months passed, and she said, Shaundi, she says, have you went to the website yet? I said, no, not yet. Well, she said, well, you know what? I'm booming. And I said, you booming? She said, I'm booming. I said, you booming? She said, I'm booming. I said, how? She said, go to www.dannyjohnson.com. So I'm sitting there. I'm a sophomore in college. My autistic son, who's my oldest, I'm with him. I'm a single father, right? So this is 2006. So while I was in recovery, in 2004, my father was murdered by his so-called best friend. So I'm dealing with that, right? My son, I found out my son was autistic. And me and my ex-wife left her family. She left her son, left me behind. So I'm a single father. I'm a new father. And I have an autistic son. So I was dealing with all that while in recovery. So I'm a substance abuse counselor at the time. And I love it. I'm helping the addict that still suffer, right? And I'm making $27,000 per year. And I lived in Northern California. Anybody that knows about the cost of living in Northern California, you make $27,000 per year with kids, you're poor. You're poor. So I'm about to do a homework assignment on the computer. And I had that moment of clarity where I was like, I'm making $27K per year. I'm in college. I'm blessed to be in college. I'm blessed to have a career instead of a job. But I'm like, yo, I could have sworn God said there's more to this. And so I went on to that. I went on to the Master Coach website, and Rebecca, she had a 3-minute video that said about the reason why you're not where you are is because of your excuses. And when I saw that video, she was talking directly to Shaundi. Mm-hmm. And then she had all these video testimonials and how everybody was changing their life by going to her weekend seminar. And one guy told my story. I'll never forget this young man. He was young, 21 years old. He told my story. Homeless, addicted to drugs, had, no faculties, wasn't there. Tough life, young lifestyle, young man. And he said, somebody told me to go to DannyJohnson.com. And he went there and his life changed. And I saw him get a career as a personal trainer. And then he bought his whole entire team there as a rookie personal trainer. And his manager was there, the director, and they all were in the next video the next month because Danny had monthly seminars. And I said, my man is 20 years old. I'm 27 at the time. I said, excuse me, I gotta go see Danny live. I'd never been to no seminar before. I'd never been to a concert. And so I borrowed the money. I said, guys, I borrowed the money. I didn't have the money, but I borrowed the money from friends and family. And I said, guys, I'm really trying to take my life to the next level. And you guys know where I came from since I was a kid. And so aunties, uncles, my cousins, my family, they chipped in. Can I get $5? Can I get 10? Whatever works for your budget. And so I ended up coming up with about $2,500, and I went to go see the master trainer. And coming out of that event, it was a wrap. It was over. Within one weekend, I might have been a sophomore in high school, Rebecca, but within one weekend, I felt like I had a PhD in how to be successful in life. And so from that experience, I went on to work in higher education. I was in higher education for 11 years as a college recruiter. I generated over $60 million as a college recruiter. And when I was a college recruiter, I wasn't at Berkeley or Stanford. I wasn't at a state or a big university to where they're turning away students. I was at small private universities where they keep cheeks in the seats by new students coming in, by new enrollment, right? And we had goals like you were a salesperson. But the way that I enrolled my students and how I treat my clients, how I work with my clients is I find out what is it that you need? What's your why? Why do you want to go to school? Why do you want to invest in coaching? And when I find out what people's why is, then I say, okay, so here's the thing. I can help you professionally, and I can help you personally. The first thing we got to do is we got to get you strong on the inside. We got to get you strong on the inside, create that mental toughness, get you some strong self-will, how to deal with that inner critic, right? That voice that says you can't do it. You should play it safe, right? And work with that inner critic so you could become a world champion on the inside, and so you could become unstoppable on the outside, right? And so I'm doing these case studies. I'm working with all these college students and stuff, and I'm helping people get into their associate's degree program, and they getting good jobs. I'm working with people who get a bachelor's degree, and they getting a little bit better big jobs. And then I started working with grad students, and I'm helping grad students. I didn't even have a bachelor's degree yet when I'm working with graduate students. And I'm working with grad students, and I'm working with people that's in business, and I'm working with people that are on a much higher scale than I am. But I was inspiring these people, and I was giving them, because I was in the personal development industry, so I'm giving them success gems for multi-millionaires and high six-figure earners. And I'm teaching them things that the classroom don't teach. See, college will teach you theory, but the colleges don't necessarily teach you how to get your degree working for you instead of for you working for your degree. So I'm helping people at all levels in life. And I said, yo, maybe I can do this as a coach. Like, maybe I can be like Danny Johnson, because I love Danny. I see how thousands of people at her seminars, and they go follow her everywhere. And so through this process, I always say this here, success leave clues. Mm-hmm. And so now we're going back to the big vision that God had for me. And he said in 2010, he said, it's time. It's time for you to start your own business, right? That was a 10-year goal back in 2002. Guess what? Business, right? Guess what? Degrees, right? And what I've been doing is I just share my story with people that inspire them and empower them. But a little later on, I began to learn about the success principles. And the principles, the reason why they call them success principles, because principles are universal, right? Anybody can learn the success principles and apply them. Mm-hmm. Where I come in at is I provide the skills, strategies, and knowledge so you can apply them. And more importantly, to be that accountability partner to see you through the entire process, right? And so that's how I became a success trainer. You know, it's through my life experience. I used to think like, man, like I got the cards decked so high in my life, but I realized years later, the reason why God took me through this entire process, because here's the thing, if I am to serve a mighty nation, if I'm supposed to go into third world countries one day and help people come out of war. You know, people. I've been to the military, so I've seen some things overseas, and to see people who live a life of fear, because if they go across the street to try to go get a rotten apple to live another day, they may get shot and killed, right? So how do you help them kind of people, Shaundi? Is I had to go through some things, right? And because I've been able to go through those things, I've been able to help all different types of people throughout my 16 years in this journey to the person I am today. And what's really great about it, Rebecca, is to see my students, my clients, people in my community that have gone from barely surviving to striving to thriving. And for some of those, you know, who really want it, is now they're unstoppable, right? And that's my life's mission. I always tell people all the time, my life's mission is to help 1 billion people step into their phenomenal being and live a successful and fulfilling lifestyle.
Mm. I'm sure you have people tell you all the time that your story is incredible, but I want to tell you, you are incredible.
Thank you.
There's a difference there. There's a real difference, because a lot of people have stories and they don't turn it into something that can help others. They might see where it helps others, but they may not take the action to invest their entire life in being able to use the experiences that they've had, no matter good or bad, or with or without judgment. But here you are, taking everything that you experienced, and with passion and purpose, you are transforming lives. I mean, even me sitting right here, just hearing your story, I felt every part of it. I did. And it's interesting because a lot of my past and your past, there's quite a parallel actually between them. And so on another level, I can really appreciate what it feels like to do that, because that's similar to my mission as well, is to take my life's experiences and just do the best I can to positively affect others as well.
Amen.
So, thank you so much for sharing that. I think the thing that's sort of top of mind for me, and something that I've had to learn how to balance, and I still want to learn more about it. When you had to surrender, so to speak, to the fact that you had alcohol and drug issues, and they were severe. And in order to do that, I'm familiar with 12-step enough to know that part of that is surrender and acceptance. But yet at the same time, I heard you really talking about how to empower ourselves, that build up that inner power. I'm really wondering your take on the balance between that surrender to an outer power, so to speak, and at the same time building that inner power, and how those two dance together.
Gotcha. So that's a wonderful question. So the one thing about 12-step is, you know how we say it, surrender to a power greater than yourself to help restore you to your sanity, from sanity. And so, you know, we all the cool thing about 12-step is it doesn't have to be a religious God or deity. You know, some people don't believe in a God per se or deity. So we would say, hey, for now, your higher power is the door, right? And the thing behind that is, hey, you've tried it on your own. You've tried it on your own. Here's the thing: if you want to quit bumping your head, if you don't want to go to prison because of your addiction, if you don't want to kill somebody because of your addiction, if you don't want to be in the institution because of your addiction, and if you don't want to end up in the grave because of your addiction, you need to believe in a power greater than yourself, a power, so that power is up to you. So, I have friends and I have clients and I have family that believe in the universe, or they believe in a higher source of energy, or they believe in a higher self, right? And having that power, that's a higher source than you can pull from that higher source to help you achieve anything, right? And so I know when I have my higher power, who I just happen to call him Jesus, right? And I know through Jesus that when I turn my life to Jesus, he already said, I promise you, as long as your life is aligned with the life that I called you to live, oh, it's coming. That is you. That's your life. And I promise you that. And so you got to believe it, though. You got to believe. And that's huge. That's one of the things I teach people. I can teach you everything you need to know. You can read the books. You can go to the YouTube videos. You can go to this seminar, meet with this guru. But here's the thing. If you do not believe in you, it ain't gonna mean a hill of beans, right? And so that higher source of energy, it helps you to believe. If you don't believe, you can tap into that higher source of energy until you get strong enough to believe, and so, like I was saying before, when you get strong on the inside, now you're able to take people, the skills and strategies and tactics and knowledge. You can add that to your skill toolbox, and you take that action, and now you're unstoppable. And that's the difference between highly successful people compared to people that they want to be successful, but the reason why they're not successful is because they're not driven, right? People can be motivated, but motivation only lasts so long. Motivation is like a battery. You need it because the battery gets you started. You need it, but it's that drive, like you're driven to succeed, and you're willing to fail forward, or you're willing to fail until you succeed, and you're willing to laser focus. See, most people don't laser focus. People watching too much TV, people watching Netflix, and people are on social media. When we adore the famous people in the world, right? But how about you adore you? How about you? Because everybody has their goals in life, right? Where they want to truly be. But how about you adore you? How about you love yourself and do some inner work and find out what is it that you truly want to do, and go out there and cut all that stuff out that's not going to help you step into your phenomenal being. Laser focus on that. Get really focused. Work your butt off. Be persistent. You got to be persistent. You got to be willing to make mistakes. You got to be willing to bob and weave. That's how success is. That's how life is. And you have to learn delayed satisfaction. What do I mean by that? It means you keep going until you succeed. Where we come in as coaches, as life changers, compared to like a therapist. A therapist is gonna help you. They're gonna find out what's going on in the past, and they're gonna help you to a certain point, and then that's it. That's all. Coaches and trainers, what we do is, if the client want us to, we there with them the whole entire process until they succeed, and until they get the result that they desire.
I love that. I have to just say, so I'm right there with you on the believe. I don't know if you can see this, but it says
Yeah.
I love how you answered that. And one thing that's interesting to me that you said, like a lot of times we think of when we have a goal, right? We think in terms of like point A to point B, and point B is the goal. A is where we are, right? Or we have something tangible. We make the vision board. We do the 3-tier plan of the low,
Right.
medium, and high goals of the goal, right? All that kind of stuff. And I want to talk about how sometimes we can focus on that long-term goal,
Mm-hmm.
and we call that success if we achieve that goal.
Mm-hmm.
But one thing that I really love to do with my clients is make sure that like everything they're doing, everything they're putting effort into, anything that is attached to their personal growth and is even a baby step further, I'm not just a cheerleader for them, but I help them see the perspective that they already have the success.
Mm-hmm.
When they're trying, even when they're moving forward, even that little tiny bit, like let's talk about the difference between having that big goal that we're trying to achieve, which equals success, and that sort of success mentality and embodiment that we need in order to not just achieve success, but actually be successful achieving the success, if that makes sense.
Makes total sense. It makes total sense. So one of my famous mentors, he's a friend of mine, the great John C. Maxwell. I call him my good friend John. John taught me in 2012 when I went through a certification program that success is a journey. And like you were just saying, you hit it right on the money, Rebecca. Success is in the journey, because here's the thing, we talk about mastery, right? Like how to master something. Your mastery happens throughout the journey. The mastery happens, the joy happens when you're going through the process, right? That's why I tell clients all the time, I tell people all the time, don't rush the process. Trust the process. Don't rush the process. Trust the process. It's in the process that you're experiencing life. So let's say it takes you 5 years to achieve this big goal or this objective. If you are not enjoying the process, the journey, being grateful and having gratitude of every moment, every hour, every single day of that process. And if you just focus on the 5-year plan, you would just miss 5 years of your life. Hello. So I learn, I read a lot. Because I want to become an expert in what I do. I don't want to be average in what I do. So I read a lot and I study a lot and I study my craft. So athletes, because I'm a former athlete. Athletes, you don't win championships when you get to the finals and win. You win championships by the intentional practice that you do in the preparation to become a champion. You don't become Michael Jordan didn't become a world champion in 1991. Michael Jordan became a world champion when he was that 6-year-old boy in the backyard shooting hoops with his brother Larry. That's where that championship journey began. And so, high performance people, they're fully present. Highly successful, high performance people are fully present. They're present in today, right? And it's so important that I tell people, because I lost my mother to cancer. I lost my mother to stage 4 pancreatic cancer 10 years after Pops was murdered. And when my mother had cancer, Rebecca, it's one thing to hear or see or have somebody that's close to you per se, and they got cancer. It's another thing when it's home, it's in your backyard. Going through that, I realized something, because my mother died at 59 years old and she died 20 years sober. I was pissed off at God for a long time. I was like, why her? Like, really? Like, why her? Really? And my mother lived, they gave my mother 6 months to live. She lived 2.5 years. Okay. My mother taught me this. My mother lived every single day as if it was her own, and she was a fighter, right? But she taught me gratitude. She taught me every single day counts. And I'm here to tell you, you know, when I first got into business, I was all about the 10-year plan. I was about making 6 figures and 7 figures. And when I hit the highest financial goal in my life, I had it for about 15 months and I lost it. Because every single day I was worried about more money, more clients, right? I can see why a lot of millionaires and billionaires, they have heart attacks because a lot of them are worried to lose their fortune. And I'm up there just working day and night on social media, Facebook, getting clients, this and that. And I couldn't enjoy the moment. I'm making money, but my fiance saying, Shaundi, come to bed with us. I said, babe, we will have the mansion, we will have the life we live. I said, I got to make this money. I was missing on my family. And because I didn't enjoy the process, I lost my money. Why did I lose my money? Because God said to me, he says, you're not enjoying the fruits of your labor. You're not enjoying life. And when once my mother passed, and it was just like, what did my mother give to me when she, what was that last parental guidance that my mother gave to me when she passed away? Rebecca, it was gratitude. And between 2014 and until today, let me just tell you something. It is not about the money. I have immense joy. I had immense joy when I took a $100,000+ pay decrease when I worked in higher education. My salary went way down. But I'll tell you though, I was blessed to have that job because in 2013, I lost it all. I was making like $11 per hour, and the year before I'm making $124K. So God took me to the back, and I had to get grateful. And when I got that job at JFK University, I was so happy. And let me just tell you, I was 1,000% focused on my students. I always have been, but I didn't trip off the money no more. It was every single day that I just enjoyed life. And when I got home, enjoyed my new baby. I got 2 now, and my soulmate. And I will tell you, that's when I learned how to become fulfilled in life, right? And it was in that journey. And I will tell you, because we have to celebrate our small successes throughout the journey. What happens is when we are fully present, when we take every day and enjoy it, because the next minute is not promised to anybody. I will tell you, I would have small wins, and they were wins because I was in the moment. I was changing lives. Like, I can't tell you how many students I enrolled. Because 6 years, what I didn't tell you was 6 years in admissions, I sucked. I got fired or I quit. I couldn't sustain long-term success. I would get promoted, make more money, but I couldn't keep it. And when God brought me all the way back and taught me to be humble, my mother taught me to be grateful. I promise you, in that 6th year, 2014, I went from worst to first, making a very low salary. Every single day, I poured my soul into those students, and I poured my soul into the university. And I will never forget, I wasn't asking for it. I was not asking for it. I didn't care about it. But I will never forget, I got a call from Dr. Judy Castro. She said, Shaundi, did you listen to your voice message? I said, no, Dr. Castro. What did I miss? She said, you've been awarded the 2015 President's Player's Choice Award. The President's Player Choice Award at JFK University is the most prestigious award a staff member can earn, and it's earned by your peers. It's earned by fellow staff people. and when I won that, I feel like I won the NBA championship. And from that point on, I found like I found I found my formula for success for me, right? And what it was is giving back, give. It's gonna come back to you. And I was a world champion college recruiter for 4 consecutive academic years. And in my last year, I became the assistant director of admissions at Holy Names University. I wear this not every day, but I wear this to remind myself, like, dude, you was homeless. You became an assistant director of admissions, a director? What in the world? And how did I get that? How am I here today talking with you? Now I learned how to enjoy the journey. I quit tripping off the 10-year goal, this and that. It's like, I'm gonna get there, but in the process, I'm gonna enjoy this journey because it was the suffering, it was the trials and tribulation, it was everything in the journey that helped me become unstoppable. And that's what I teach my clients. And so I hear you. Be in that moment. Be grateful. Be fully present. Enjoy life, and you'll hit the goals for sure. You can hit that. You just got to stay the task and enjoy the journey.
I love this. And there are like 3 P's that are coming up for me right now. One is practice, one is present, and one is performance. Yes. And I'm sitting here because I didn't share this with you, but I have a master's in music, and like in my past life, I was like a musician, right? So, when you're practicing for anything, right? Let's talk about music. So, you have your practice schedule, you have the way that you practice, like a lot of musicians will just play through the music, but something that made sense to me was, let me take one measure and let me perfect, not just perfect, but let me internalize that one measure until I get to the second. And then let me put the first and the second together. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. And before I was flowing with the entire tune, right? And so that's what practice does. It brings us to this point of where we can just be so naturally automatic and intuitive about everything that we know, everything that we're learning in that practice state. Then you become present. Okay. You're in the present. You have those skills. You have that knowledge. It's under your fingertips, so to speak, like you've got it. And now you're present and you're standing on stage. And there's a difference between just showing the notes that you know, and then being present and taking in everybody in that arena, and being able to not just show the notes you know, but translate what they mean to you to someone else who's listening. And then the next level is performing to connecting, engaging. Like something's happening. There's energy transferring back and forth. Now it's experience. And so I'm wondering, if you take practice, being present, and what was the other one? Performing. If you take those 3 things and you apply them to your coaching and your clients, how would those 3 things come together in what you do with your clients?
It's like you said, it's a process. Hey, let's easy does it, right? Let's learn one concept. Let's focus on that concept. Let's dive into it. I always tell people, like, when you read a book, you're going to get so much out of that book. When you go to a seminar, you're going to get so much out of that seminar. Take one to 2 things, maybe, depending on your memory. But take one concept and how would you, and apply that to your life, like now, right? And then, so there's a second concept, right? Same thing. You learn it, you take action, you teach somebody along the way, and now you got it. Now you got step 1, you got concept number 1, you got concept number 2, right? What's step 3? What's the next concept, right? It's like we say, it's what do you call it? Music composition. Okay, yeah. So I'm not a music person at all. I'm not at all. I listen to music, but for my intuitive mind, you can't you can't learn Mozart. You can't learn how to do the piano or learn an instrument just it's step by step by step by step, right? So, when I was a little kid, there was like this part in the Lean on Me movie, and my friend knew like part of it. It was like dun 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 dun. I learned that little piece right there. I actually learned it, right? And had I stuck with it, if I wanted to, he could have taught me the second part of that, and I'd have been like, because I mastered that. I could have learned the second part. I would have mastered that. I'd have took the second piece. I took the first piece, second piece, and what's going on next? Learn the third piece. If I would have continued to show up, and if I would continue to practice, and if I was okay messing up, because you're going to mess up, sooner or later, I would have been playing Lean on Me, the full song via piano. Look out. Hey. So, in teaching my clients, the 3 Ps, it's a process, it's practice, and going through the practice and going through the process. Guess what's gonna happen? You're gonna perform. You're gonna perform. It is what it is, right? So that's my answer. I'm sticking to it.
I love it. I love it. I love it. So, give us a scenario, like if you think of a fond memory with one of your clients, what's something that you were truly grateful for and that really impacted you when you watched the growth happen before your eyes?
Woo, man, which one to pull from? I'll go with one of my latest clients who just graduated from her certification program. So when I met my great client, phenomenal raw talent. I mean, phenomenal raw talent as a coach. And you know what's so funny, as coaches and as trainers, we can see talent. We can smell it a mile away, right? and I'm like, I said, man, this young lady, I said, man, she could be teaching my LPT mod 1 through 3, right? Lead trainer one day. But that inner critic, that gremlin, anxiety, right? That kept her assumptions about relationships, right? That kept her caged a little bit. That kept her from seeing her greatness, right? I saw it. I'm pretty sure other people in her life saw it, but she didn't see it yet. And so, as a coach, I ask the empowering questions to help the client seek the answer within, because that empowers them better when it comes from them instead of the coach, right? There are times when I do some consulting. There are times when I do some training, right? And when I mix 3 in, because that's what works for me. That's what works for my clients. I begin to see some growth. I began to see her energy level rise. I saw her go from, certain areas of her life going to be a victim. I saw some areas where she was going and she was pissed off at the environment or people, right? And then I saw her I saw her say, you know what? That's okay. That's okay. I'm gonna do my, you know what? I'm gonna take some action. I'm gonna take some action. I'm no longer pity pottying. That's level one. I saw her energy rise to a level two, where she was upset, right? Because she was hurt. Then I saw her rise to level three. Her energy rise to level three, to where I'm ready to put in the work, Shaundi. I'm ready to put in the work. I'm not upset with nobody per se no more. And if they still upset with me, that's okay, whatever. I'm moving on. And then I saw her go to step four. I saw her raise her energy level to, I see challenges, but I also see opportunities. And it is within about 3 months where she had really blocked a lot of inner work with relationships. I saw her grow tremendously. And that relationship and her assumptions and how she grew up, right? The beliefs, she was beginning to break that shackle, right? And then I saw her put that mirror in front of her and was like, man, I am a good coach. I'm a good coach. So we would jump on the call, and I'm a competitive person. She competitive. I said, how many new clients did you get this week? She said, Shaundi, she said, I was just having a conversation at my job. I was just having a conversation. I'm not trying to promote coaching to these cats at work. But a coworker who she did not get along with. Let me just tell you, because that would be in our coaching conversation. Because it's like, let's deal with what's going through you right now before we start coaching. Mm-hmm. Do you know that person that did not like her and she didn't like? Do you know that became her client? Like the lady pays her, and then she started to get more clients from her job. Now, in my experience, if I'm working entry level, on my years of working entry level, I don't know if I'll be able to secure one of my colleagues at Office Max making $9.35 an hour in the late 90s, and they making about $1 less than me or the same. And I'm talking about I'm a life coach and I can help change your life. I don't know if I'd had the confidence to even approach them like that or them approach me, but she did. And she had, and I mean, when she got rolling, she started getting clients organically. Like I'm talking to somebody on the bus and let's have a conversation. I'm talking about she doing a 2-hour insight session and now she getting paying clients. And I said, well, you know what? You are phenomenal. Like, do you know how good you are? I told her straight up. I said, coaching from coach to coach, your coaching skills are better than mine because I'm more. God blessed me to be a speaker, a trainer, and a teacher. I had to learn how to be a counselor. I had to learn how to be a coach. I had to learn how to shut my mouth 80% of the time and talk 20%, right? But I learned. The school I went to, IPEC, they trained me really well. She's a phenomenal coach. She's so phenomenal that she quit her job before she's not 30 yet. She's 29 years old. She quit her job because they wasn't honoring her, right? And she's doing this full time. She's in France right now, enjoying life. She don't know French, but she's getting clients, and she don't know French yet.
Love it.
That right there, my friend, that right there, I look at the top tier coaches like yourself, the Melissa West of the world, Bruce D. Snyder, Luke Lario, Freddie Baker. Those you guys are mentor coaches. You guys mentor professional coaches. And working with her, I truly felt that I had the skills and the ability to help fellow coaches, and I'm doing that now. That gave me, like, there's a tear in my eye. That gave me the greatest joy because I put people on notice. I'm like, listen, you got coaches that's highly skilled. They skilled. They know how to coach. But for some reason they block because of fear, right? And I'm like, hey, listen, we got a rookie over here. We got a rookie, never coached in her entire life. She learned through the coaching process. We got a rookie. She retired. She not 30 yet. She's doing it authentically. She got that energy. She may stutter throughout the coaching process. She don't care. She care about the people that she want to serve because she know that they need this. They need her services. And I'm like, guys, hey, tell that inner critic to chill out. Take the inner critic to the higher source of energy and say, let's go. And I love helping the underdogs because I was an underdog. I love helping the underdog go from surviving to from average to good to great to phenomenal. Mm-hmm. And I tell people all the time, listen to me very closely. Young kids, when we're young, we're bold. Little my baby, he bump his head everywhere, boop, crying, boop, knees. He gets back up and going to do it again. I'm like, dude, you're killing me. You're gonna knock your brains out, dude. He just bold, and he got that childlike faith. And I asked my clients, I said, what would it mean for you if you had that childlike faith when you had no care in the world, and to get into that space of get out of my way, I'm coming to change lives, right? And it's a blessing with all my clients when they hit that when they hit that level 5, when they don't see challenges, they see opportunities, right? That's how CEOs are. They may not know nothing about energy, leadership, or maybe success principles per se, but a really good CEO, top CEOs like Steve Jobs, Jeff Bezos, Gates, Warren Buffett, a CEO has to make a tough decision fast. It's not about taking forever. They got to make a tough decision fast, and they don't see challenges. Thought leaders see opportunities. Yeah. And so when I get a client like that steps into that level of leadership, I know I've done my job, and it makes me very happy. And no matter money can make me. That's that spiritual high I get, sister.
Yeah.
Amen.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm like completely with you. There is nothing better than watching someone literally transform. And for me, I help people release resentments. Like I specialize in the blockages that are in the way, right? Especially resentments. And when I take someone from level 1 to level 7 in a matter of an hour and a half, how powerful that is. And then you keep doing that process over and over again. And it's like your entire energy starts rising to those higher levels consistently. Yes. There is nothing better than doing that work. Like I'm right there with you. And so if people want to do that work and they have watched this episode and they absolutely have fallen in love with you, how do they get in contact with you? How can they work with you?
Well, my business line is 925-320-1108. My website is www.shaundigoinscoaching.com. And if you want to learn more in depth about my life's journey, and I mean, I take you through the entire process. I go very detailed in how I got from where I was to where I am today and how I've helped thousands of people change their lives over the past 16 years. My very first published book, and more to come, From Homeless to Greatness, the Shaundi Goins story. You can get it off my website. You can, when you log on to ShaundiGoinsCoaching.com, all you do is go into that, you click on that book page, it'll take you right there to it. And this is an autobiography. This is my life story. But what I did was I put in the success principles that helped change my life, And I tell people all the time, this book right here is a journey. I want people to actually read this book from cover to cover, because when you read it from cover to cover, you'll be able to see how I was able to implement the success principles throughout my entire life. And hey, it's a great read. It's gonna change your life.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Awesome, Shaundi. I really want to thank you for being on. It was such a pleasure to have you here today. And I want to thank our viewers. Guys, awesome, right? Like, how incredible is Shaundi? If he hasn't inspired you today, like, pick up that book, connect with him. I mean, there's inspiration pouring out of every inch of this man. So make sure that you connect with him, and that inspiration, I hope, will lead you to everything that you want in life and everything that you want to be. So that's it for us, guys, and we'll see you next time. Thanks again, Shaundi.
Thank you.
Bye.
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 Bye-bye.